Hello everyone, Justin from Playing Board Games here, and today I'm looking forward to giving you an overview of Ostia and its Pirates expansion, which is currently on Kickstarter. I'm going to chat about how the game works and what sort of mechanics you can expect, and then I'll talk about what the Pirate expansion itself adds. The publisher sent me a copy of this game for this video, and any components you may see in this video are subject to change in the final release. In Ostia, you take on the role of an owner of a huge fleet of ships. Your goal is to use the money and resources you gain from charting your ships to expand your enterprise. At the end of the game, the player who expanded their enterprise the best wins. Like in most board games, in Ostia the goal is to get the most points. The game can end in a variety of different ways, and each player plays an equal number of turns. Endgame scoring is broken down into endgame scoring tiles, honor cards, and sets of various icons and tokens, which can be enhanced by where you sit on the scoring track. Players can earn glory throughout the game to advance on the track, and doing so is key for finding victory. The game is played on a main board that every player plays on, which is the leftmost one in this image, but each player also has two personal sideboards, the Ostia port board, the middle one where you take your actions, and the construction track, which provides the cost of new ships and buildings. On your turn, you choose one of the sections on your Ostia port board and generate resources in the section for each ship there. Then, you resolve a Mon-Cala mechanic where you pick up all the ships in your chosen section and drop the ships clockwise one by one until you place your last ship. The section where your last ship is placed determines the action you take. Each action uses the resources that are in their section, and keeps the resource management relatively simple. But be aware, when I'm about to explain all the actions, be aware that each action has more depth than what I'm going to cover here. I'm going to give you a nice summary of them. The 6 actions that you can take are: move. You can spend permits to move your ship tokens on the main board, gaining resources from passing tokens or landing on tiles in your path. Ship build. You can spend wood to build more ships, eventually adding more ships to the game, and upgrading the ships on your Ostia port board. You can order. You can spend wheat to fulfill orders, earning resources, icons, and amphora tokens that are worth points at the end of the game. You can build. So you can spend stone to build your buildings on your trading ports that you've reached on the main board, upgrading your Ostia port board and providing endgame bonuses and better trade options in the process. You can trade! This connects back to the building because you need to be able to build on ports to trade, but you can spend gold to trade, turning gold to other resources, or you use that gold to buy honor cards, which are endgame scoring cards that you can purchase if you've hit certain thresholds in the game. The example on the screen below me, if you have 4 ship icons revealed, you can buy this honor card during a trade action. The last action you can take is administration. When you take this action, you take a different non-trade action, and then you Mon-Cala it up again, giving you 2 actions on your turn. Most actions bring in points one way or another, and because endgame scoring spreads so far, you have a lot of different avenues that you can take when depending on your strategy. While one strategy may be your focus, you'll likely dip into other areas as you try to maneuver your Mon-Cala action selection to the perfect point. And with most of these Mon-Cala mechanic games, Trajan is another example of one, the sequencing of your actions will be the biggest factor for your score at the end of the game. It's about trying to not have your tokens bunch up and spread your actions evenly. What I find with these style of mechanic games are really where the game kind of exists, and also where I myself am probably at my weakness. The common thread that I found between each game of Ostia is the importance of earning glory. If you can jump a tier or 2 ahead of your opponents on the glory track, you'll rake in more points at the end of the game. Likewise, if you notice that your opponent is getting ahead of you on the glory track, you'll want to make catching up your priority. Luckily, glory can be earned through various action paths, meaning that catching up is always possible. Before we jump into the expansion, I wanted to touch on player conflict. For some people, this can be a big factor in making or breaking a game. There isn't any direct player conflict in Ostia. Instead, players can interact indirectly, racing for certain resources before an opponent. This includes being the first to grab resource tiles on the main board, which are the circled on this example here, or reaching the destination tiles first, which you can find in the rectangle in the middle of the board, or by being the first person to grab up specific honor cards. So, with all that said, if you enjoy player interaction, Ostia may not scratch the itch, but if you're a fan of calm, point salad style games, there may be something here for you. So, with all that said, let's talk about the Pirates expansion. What does this expansion add? Well, you guessed it, one of the things it does add is pirate ships. These pirate tokens sit at certain trading ports on the main board, providing an obstacle for your ship token to move into that trading port. To pass a pirate ship, you need to spend weapons, a new resource that can be purchased when you take the trade action. You are rewarded for defeating pirates, earning treasure chests depending on the strength of the pirate ship that you defeated. Notably, pirate ships never leave the board. Instead, they actually get stronger as the game goes on. However, you can buy legionary tokens to power your ships. Each legionary token you control does two things. First, they increase your weapon strength by 1, meaning that you need to pay 1 less weapon to defeat a pirate for each legionary token you have. You can see they also cost weapons to buy, so there's a bit of a balance of defeating pirates or buying legionary tokens. Additionally, each legionary token you own increases the endgame scoring of your treasure chests. The next new mechanic is Disgrace tokens. Each of these tokens lose you 7 points at the end of the game. Ouch. But you can gain or lose these tokens through a variety of new mechanics in the Pirates expansion, but they are most commonly gained and lost by events. Events are triggered when the last treasure chest is removed from the leftmost section of the event board. Events are simple when they do trigger. Players see who has the most and the least of a certain value in the game, and whoever has the most loses a disgrace token, and whoever has the least gains a disgrace token. So in the example I have on the screen, if you have the most ship icons, you get to lose a disgrace token. If you have the least or are tied for the least, same with tied for the most, you have to gain a disgrace token. The build action in this game is improved slightly by the addition of the Roman city board. When you construct a building, instead of placing it on the Ostia port board, you may pay extra resources to place it on the Roman city board, grabbing the Roman city tile from the space you built on. These tokens give you immediate and end-game effects, adding to your ability to explore your chosen strategy. And finally, what I think is the biggest addition from the Pirates expansion are the home city and supporter cards. You're randomly given one of each of these at the start of the game, and these cards do two things. They give you starting disgrace tokens, so you're going to have some disgrace at the start of the game no matter what, but they also give you additional abilities throughout the game. These are a nice addition because they give you a direction to follow or give you more options to achieve your game plan. I personally found the Pirate expansion to add a nice amount of mechanics without increasing the complexity of too much. I do think that Ostia is a complex game outside of my own perspective, because to me, I think Ostia is a relatively simple game, but I play a lot of board games, so I actually find it to be relatively simple to play, but I understand that Ostia actually is on the higher complexity side, just to be aware of that. There are a lot of moving parts, but I found that when playing, the actions are simple enough that the game moves quickly from turn to turn, and you don't necessarily interact with every mechanic as an individual player when playing the game, so you can kind of just like pick and choose what you do understand as you learn the game more. With that said, I do think teaching the game may be difficult, but I don't believe that is the case for playing it. This is just my perspective as someone who has played this game a few times. But also keep in mind, I've played a lot of different board games as well. If you do want to see the game in action beyond this overview, we have a gameplay video on our channel, which you can actually find a link to in the video description. I hope this video gave you a bit of insight into what Ostia and its Pirate expansion are. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to support a channel, you can do so by liking, subscribing, and commenting, and all that other YouTube stuff. And thank you so much for watching. Again, have a good one. And as always, the GG's.